to the show, everybody. Welcome to Of the Publishing Persuasion. I am Angela Montoya, author of Sinner's Hayal. Please pre-order it. I am desperate. Please. Please. Comes out October 31st, 2023.
This year.
And I am this year. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm here with Melanie Schubert. Melanie, she is not only the light of my life, she is also the mother to Goose, who I am a fangirl of. Goose is the superstar. I hope you guys know who Goose is. If you don't, you need to know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just gonna keep going. Her husband's name is Phil. He just seems like a great supportive guy.
Yeah.
You know, Melanie's just out here living her life. Melanie, how are you?
Thank you for that exuberant intro. I'm so tempted to grab Goose now. Okay, I'm going to talk to her for
please. Everybody needs to see this face. Goose was a model in a past life.
Yes, she's.
I mean, in fact, she is a model now. Look at that face.
Who's that?
Goose. Oh, she's so sweet and special. Wait, Goose is a girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Goosey's boobies.
Yeah, she's my dog, for those who can't see. She's making a cameo right now. Poor little thing.
She's so calm right now.
She was asleep. I was a bad dog mom. Okay.
Now she's up and she will terrorize everything.
Sorry, girl.
Sorry, Goose. Sorry.
Yeah.
How did you guys come up with the name Goose? I don't know if I've ever asked you this.
It was like I think just how do you come up with characters' names in books? Like a melting pot of going over and over random stuff, like until something felt right. And I think there's a lot of dogs called, a lot of Frenchies called Bruce, Frankie. There's a lot of like one syllable. Okay, Frankie's 2 syllables now.
Yeah.
Let's just.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let you go with that. But yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. Look, basically, it just sounded cool. And she is a silly goose. She is like, she's the most ridiculous little thing in the best way. Like, she's not a real dog. She is a very sooky, like, more of a cat than a dog, but then she's got that guardian, super ultra guardian spirit. I think she's a little bit wild compared to some dogs.
I love a wild dog. I love it.
Yes.
Wild heart. That's awesome.
No, but a lot of people are like, is that from Top Gun? We get that like at least like 3 times a week. Someone will ask me because she's got her name on the side of her.
Oh, yes. I have seen her harness.
Yeah, and people are like, is that from Top Gun? I'm like, no, she's just a silly goose. But yes. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I believe I asked you first, actually.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, good. It's been like busy.
Yeah.
It's a weird season of my life. It's both a big season of change and a big season of lots of waiting, you know?
Yes.
So it's kind of like we're just basically waiting for a couple final things. We're conditionally approved. I can say that now because by the time I put this up, we're conditionally approved for our little darling flat. So basically they just have to check off. It's not a thing that wouldn't be that it would weigh the balance. They just have to have it on their files. So like this week, it could be as early as this week that we have keys to our new apartment. So
holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. And I'm still, until there are keys in my hand, I think I'm still a bit hesitant to get, because you just never know, like things can happen out of your control until the final, dots and tittles are marked. Like I'm still just not getting too hyper excited, but also it's basically a done deal. So it's hard not to, because it is a little dream apartment on a little dream street of mine in like a little old, like almost 100-year-old building. So just our little slice of Melbourne. It's very small. It's not much bigger than what I'm in now, but that's perfect because I can keep writing full time. So
Oh, Melanie, this is like
Yeah,
a dream.
it is a dream.
Oh,
So I'm like it feels
yes.
too exciting to get too excited, but at the same time, yesterday I was already looking at new bath mats.
Well, that's important. You know, a good bath mat is really important, though.
Do you guys have Temu over there? Temu online?
I don't know. I
It's
do
this,
not know.
I don't know how recent it is, but basically it's like a megalith company that's trying to like, it's horrible, like trying to shut down like Big W and Kmart and those kinds of places by just selling a bunch of shit really, really cheap. So like out of
Uh-huh.
curiosity, I checked it out the other day and like you could type in anything and it will come up. Anything. And like it's really fucking cheap. Like it is so cheap, it's insulting to society.
Freaking capitalism, man.
I know, but at the same time, my husband was like, no. He's like, I paid $120 for that shower head with the filter on it. He's like, it's $20 here. He's like, it's the same one. And I was just like, like that does
Wow.
sting a little. That does sting a little. So anyway, I digress. But no, like, so that it's like a lot, but it's good. It's lots of good things. And just I sent out another bunch of queries. I was just like,
Oh,
yeah, I think I was like starting to get a bit emo because there's just so much waiting. And I do still
yes.
have fulls and partials out, but like reading times are like months and months these days. And it just kind of dawned on me the other day, oh, like I've done the same thing I always do. Once again, I sent out one batch of queries to all these dream agents and kind of like waiting. And I was like, there was so many agencies I haven't queried yet that hadn't had agents open and stuff. So I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
I'm gonna like worst case scenario, the agents that I'm on hold with will get back to me and they'll want me and I'll have to tell a bunch of others no. But like it felt good to just like put more out there into the universe and not just be like so clinging on to these couple that are out there that I'm like dream agents. They
Yes.
are dream agents, but like yeah, I definitely there was so many this time. Like I didn't have a query out with Ryder's House. I didn't have a query out with like Azantian because when I was doing my first batch last time, that none of them
Right.
were open. So I was just like, it blew my mind this weekend that I didn't have queries out with some like key big agencies that I've always looked at. So that felt good. I got like another 9 out.
Nice. Good.
But like
Yes.
I love this book. I believe in this book. And I just like I think like when you're away from it for too long, you can start to have like imposter syndrome and be like, was it even that good? Like, was it? But then I was like, no, it was like you really love this one. Just keep, send out another round. And it's literally like still a smallish batch. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
so that
Good.
feels good. That's pretty much what the sum of updates. The other random thing is I got a reel in my feed the other day. Do you know, have you ever heard of Stage 32?
I do not know.
Stage 32? Yeah,
I
Stage
do not.
32. Anyway, it's like I'm gonna do this like course that came into my feed. I don't know how legit it is, but it's for like television writing and stuff. So
Go you. Okay.
yeah, it was free. So I
Yes.
was like, okay, well, that's weird that that's come into my path. I've always thought about that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Watch this space. It's my next. I think graphic art wasn't for me. It's my next.
Okay.
It's my next side quest. That one, I definitely. It was just too much. I think special people draw, right? Like that's a
Yes. Yes.
different gift, like writing, and I don't think it's mine, to be honest. I'm
Okay.
glad I had a play with it, but I don't think I'm ever going to be a great illustrator. Like it's just but I have no regrets that I dabbled in it. But now I was kind of like that came across my path and I was like, let's give it a go. So I've signed up for that and I have no idea what to expect. I don't even know if it's legit, but literally they're like talking about being the new middleman between like they drop names like Netflix. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to ignore that this has crossed my path because I've always thought about The Bish has a lot of stories. She just needs to find the right place for them to go.
Yes. Yes, she does. Yes. Okay. I love this. I love this for you. And there's not every little thing that you're trying is all building.
Yeah.
All that. And now you know maybe being a graphic artist is not your thing. And that is okay.
Just like realize how far into time we've got. Like, I don't know how long I was ranting for, but I feel like I need an off switch as well. So back to you, because you got more than you bargained for in that rant, I'm sure. How are you, my darling friend?
I'm good. I'm very, very good. Let's see what's happening with me. Um, I'm continuing to work on my third book.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at like 53K. So I'm just chipping away, chipping. And I like it. I think it's going to be really fun. I think every book has its own energy. And so I'm still finding this one's because I feel like with Sinner's Isle and with my second book, my monster book, there was so much humor in like interwoven, and this one doesn't have that yet.
Okay.
So I'm missing that bit of fun. It's all very serious and like angsty, which I love. I love angst, but I also miss like a little bit of like little funny, sassy thing. So we're in a different energy right now on book 3. But that's okay. So I'm just gonna keep on writing and get as far as I can get, and we shall see where we go.
Perfect. No, but that's, sometimes you find those other parts in later drafts, you're getting at the main story. And like, I swear I don't properly know my characters until several drafts in,
Yes. Yeah. I think that's just where I'm at right now. Like, I don't know I don't know everything yet. So I need to get to the end. So then I really do know. Yes. So I'm giving myself grace, being kind, and just kind of enjoying like finding my way through, because there were some random things that connected that I didn't expect, or like
I love that.
Like plot twists. I was like, oh, that's really fun. Thank you, brain. I don't know who's in that brain, but thank you.
You.
yeah. I guess that's
all
true.
You. And honestly, like you've said to me a couple times, like that's where you shine. You're not that you've said it in that way, but like that's where you have fun in revisions. And I think that's where you shine, where you like pull all those threads and completely like, because you'll have more of those aha moments of stuff and it'll all come together. It always does.
Coming together, baby. Coming together.
I can't wait to read it. As you know, I'm your number one fan, and it's going to be glorious. I'm proud that like if we look back, like you're actually doing it. Like you're cutting yourself the grace now when you draft this, instead of like beating yourself up for it not being perfect first go. That's like,
well, thank you. That's where I'm at right now. About a half an hour ago, I felt a little differently. But right now, I am feeling good.
Well, if that isn't the most relatable shit, I don't know what is. It's just a permanent roller coaster, isn't it? It's just like you either the shit or just shit. Like that's my ultimate realization with all of this. You just have days where you're like, they should be so lucky to read.
Yes.
And then other days you're just like, why, God, why? I'm so shit at this.
It's so true. Why, God? Yes, that's exactly freaking it. 100%. Yeah. But that's what's so fun about like this this podcast is like getting to joke and laugh about all the shit. So
Exactly. What about our Sinner's Isle corner?
Okay, actually, I pulled up a review that made my day. Okay. Yes. It both offended me and made my day.
Oh, it's a bad review?
No, it's not. But it kind of is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, listen. I have to read this. I won't say who the reviewer is, or you know, I don't know if anybody cares, but
Yeah.
it said, hold on. Just this first line killed me. It literally killed me. Okay. I wasn't expecting much from Sinner's Isle.
What?
Or just murdered me right out the bat. Just okay.
They were not slaying. Came out of the gate with like the slash side eye.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much from Sinner's Isle. I thought it would be a surface level pirate romance. I could not have been more wrong. This is one of the best YA books I've read this year. The story is well written, characters are deep, the plot fits together seamlessly, and I finished it feeling good. I expect good things from this book now. I love this review so much. It took me on a roller coaster. You know what I mean? But the reviewer gave me 5 stars, and it made my whole day when I saw this review. For one, like knowing that I turned somebody's mind, you know, I changed their mind about, you know, what they thought the book was going to be, and that they enjoyed it, and it was a lot more, you know, deep than surface level. We see cute pirate on the cover.
Yes.
Like, it literally had me just on the floor. You know, I wasn't expecting much from this book. Just killed me. I love it so much. It made me so freaking happy.
Zero filter. But you know what? Those are the reviews that hold the most weight, in my opinion.
Yes.
When readers look over it, that's the 5-star review that they'll think is real, because it is.
Yes. I honestly, I was just like, I did it. I have reached the pinnacle of my career. I have changed somebody's mind. I've made him a believer.
Yes.
Just literally made my whole freaking I saw it. It's
the most glorious thing. It's my favorite Sinner's Isle corner so far. Yes. And it's so nice because, like, sometimes you read the exact opposite when you're reading reviews of books, and they're like, I thought this book was gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's like the polar opposite of that type of review, which is just the best ever. And
just you want the best.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm riding on that high. I will not, I keep telling myself, okay, stay off any review sites, stay off. But I'm so glad I saw that one.
Right. It's just, it's so glorious and wonderful to me how vast and varied humanity is. And which leads me to my next segment of the show. I have something for you.
Wait, hold on, everybody. Pause. Melanie just did a fantastic transition. Stop. Everybody stop what you're doing and give Melanie a clap.
And I get a round of applause. Do you want more? We can delete that part. I'm too comfortable with you, and the songs come out of me.
It was beautiful.
Thank you for my segue applause moment. So I have compiled a fascinating array of something for you.
Yes.
So while I was querying, I stumbled upon what I will call a treasure trove of humanity's darkest moments in querying. So I found this quite by accident from a tweet, and it is, I think it's called Query Hell.
Oh.
It's like an agent's worst queries that they've gotten.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it actually somehow made me feel so good about querying. Because I was like, this is what's out there. And to any of our agent listeners, I feel like they're going to feel so seen by this. And it's mostly just, we're going to have a good laugh because it just takes all kinds. You just see it all in the trenches, you know? So I've compiled a list of my favorites for you. Slush Pile Hell was the site that I found all these treasures. So I hope you're ready to hear.
Can't wait.
So these are actual quotes from actual queries sent to this agent who has compiled them, who, rightly wants to remain anonymous. Please turn my novels into money. I possess a supreme talent and I am no fool. I see how this has to be. With the right team behind me, I could revolutionize literature and show consumers how there is still such a thing as a soul in this soulless nation.
Oh my God.
Glorious, no?
That was amazing. I mean, sign that person up. We need sold back.
Right? Do you love this? Are you loving this journey?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
Next one. Dear guys, this letter is sent to most members of the AAR simultaneously and equally because I have no time to care about everyone too deeply now. I won't mind. I'm not shitting you. I won't mind if you don't reply because this letter doesn't follow some of yourself's fancy principles, like a great book may mean different things to different ones, but I still wonder at your attitude. Here are parts. Motherfucker came with parts of my manuscript below. Please reply at once. If you wonder, there's no more waiting after a week.
Oh my gosh. That person, I'm speechless.
Right?
I wonder how many replies they got.
It just makes you realize why sometimes agents don't have time to get back as well because they're dealing with this shit.
Well, sure, they've got people that have a deadline. They have to get back to them.
Right? The ego on some of these people just kills me.
Wow.
Okay, like this one. My novel is actually an instructional booklet for peace, for world peace, in the form of a novel. In the form of a mystery, adventure, suspense novel, a drama.
Wow. Everything.
It's just epic. And then this one. First of all, I must warn you, I am violating your rules of submission. What?
At least they warned them.
That's like, if you don't get a rejection after that one line, I would wonder who the agent was. You've got 3 more, I think. Wait, what's our time like?
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Are you living for this?
I freaking love it. Makes me feel so good about myself.
Same. I don't know why, but it really does. I think because like sometimes it feels like a sea of like people sending queries out, doing the writing thing, but like some people are just doing it wrong. I'm just going to call it. This is the wrong way to query an agent.
Yes, it makes me feel like an angel. It makes me feel like I'm so humble. I am the most humble person after hearing. You know what I just feel like, wow, Mother Teresa, here I am.
It's true. This one says, I'm searching for a literary agent. I know nothing about publishing other than that I've always held the belief that one should get paid for what one has written. This is a rough draft in need of some editing. As I understand it, this is what you do. The balls.
Dude, these people have the biggest balls ever.
The biggest balls and the smallest brains. Now we reach the religious section. There was quite a lot who felt like God had told them to be querying this agent. So, dear agent, I'm a spiritual healer and author/scribe. I was guided by Jesus to email you this, who I've met in person many times.
Stop it.
While touring through the creation together.
No, No, dude, that was Jesus. Okay, that's my cousin. I swear. That wasn't Jesus. That was just Jesus. Okay. Oh, Lord.
Oh, glorious. I hope this one I'm going to read you the part in the query and the agent's reply.
Oh, yeah.
So the part in the query they posted was, I hope this submission leaves you in a condition of uncontrolled and irreversible wow. And the agent replied, last time I was in that condition, I spent the next day in a Mexican jail. Who are these people?
Oh,
Yes.
the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. And last but not least, another one who has been called. This work consists of 7 volumes. After you read volume 6, you will know the Lord has sent you the greatest writing ever written. Its sales shall succeed anything that has ever been sold in the world, even Harry Potter. You are authorized to represent my global publishing interests at all speaking engagements, etc. The Lord wants me to have worldwide commercial publishing contracts with a large cash advance. And the agent wrote back, I think you just made Jesus cry.
That was it. That was perfect.
Oh,
Jesus is crying. I feel like
we are crying with laughter
yes.
because it's just
Oh.
yes. I hope this has entertained you all today as it entertained me and Montoya now.
It sure did. It sure freaking did. My stomach hurts from laughing. Oh man. Well, okay. We just listened to some of the most outrageous people in publishing. But we were lucky enough to have someone who was so kind, so perfect, so glorious, dare I say, that you won't be laughing. No, you will be crying good tears. And that person is our dear friend Kate Martin. Shall I read
Yes.
Kate Martin's bio?
Yes.
Let me fix it. Kate Martin is a stay-at-home mom by day, a dance teacher by night, and a writer every minute in between. Growing up on the side of a Connecticut mountain in the middle of nowhere wasn't much good for after-school shenanigans with friends, but it was spectacular for building an overactive imagination. She spent her childhood weaving intricate plots, none of which were ever without fantastical elements. After getting her BA in elementary education with a minor in psychology, she found Seton University's writing popular fiction program, graduating with her MA in June 2008 and again with her M.F.A. in June 2013. That really screwed me up right there. She currently resides in a different part of the Connecticut countryside with her husband, 2 daughters, and food-obsessed cat. Her latest book, The Fallen, is an epic fantasy out with Outland Entertainment, June 20th, and is the second in the Mysts and Labrynths trilogy.
Glorious.
Yeah. Yes.
We had such a great conversation, and I just have to go back and congratulate you on that segue from my deranged query / pile into our guest.
I learned from the best. I learned from you, Melanie.
No, I learned from you. You are the queen of segues. But yes, all the good chats. We're talking Full Metal Alchemist. We're talking fallen demons and disappearing gods. Or silent gods. Silent gods.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get on our Discord, boo.
That's right. Absolutely. Let's bring on Kate Martin. It's Martin. Kate Martin.
Well, which one do you want me to use? I kind of like the flourish.
You could do both. You could do me and me translating what I just said, you know.
Hello.
Yes.
Yay. I'm so excited to be here.
No, we're honestly, it's really fun to have you on. We've, had discussions in our Hub Persuasion Discord, and I've been watching you on TikTok, and I have one of your beautiful books. So it's really fun to get to talk with you about your journey and like hear, you know, the different sides of how you came to publishing. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, did you always want to be a writer?
I think I always was a writer, but I didn't know that was a thing people could be.
Yes.
So I remember very distinctly in college, I was reading Wizard's First Rule. So I was like 18 years old, and something about that book, it was like I got hit over the head. I was like, oh my God, people write books, and I am people. And I have stacks of little composition notebooks that I had been filling since like middle school.
Oh, wow.
But never finished anything. So then in college, I wrote my first novel. I think it was like 250K epic fantasy. It's in the drawer. Will probably never see the light of day, much to my sister's chagrin. But yeah, so that was the start of that. But I mean, I majored in elementary education. So then afterwards, when I was getting my master's in writing, I was substitute teaching, and I went to sub for a teacher. She had not been my teacher. She had been the teacher next door when I was in like third grade. And I went to sub for her, and she was like, Katie Martin, little Katie Martin, who used to write pages and pages and of good stuff too. And I was like, and no one told me? No one ever suggested to me. So now I make it my mission when I find kids who can write or even kids who can dance, because I teach dance too. If I think they can do it, I tell them. I just flat out tell them. Just in case their brains are like mine, and like hints like this was really good isn't clear enough.
Yes.
That wasn't clear enough for me.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like some of those early influences, they stay with you even if they were fleeting, even if they weren't like it. The other day I just had this random memory of my grade 2 teacher, and she used to like sometimes just not do class for us. She'd just read us the Chronicles of Narnia for class, like for a full class. And like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have a feeling this teacher who was so excited about this series, like that's almost all I almost exclusively read that at that age, you know? And it's just like these little, you know, these people who nurture that in you. It's so precious.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, I even have, it's right here. But like this copy of Matilda was gifted to me by, I think like my third or fourth grade teacher. And I still have it. And we just read it with my daughter, who's 6 now. But like, this is that. And like, and I have other books that teachers gave me books a lot as a kid. I don't know if they were giving books to everyone or just me.
That's so special. That is so special.
I have these books. Like I have a copy of Mists of Avalon from my senior year of high school. It was my English teacher's copy. She had 2 copies, and I hadn't finished it by the end of the year. And she's like, will you keep it?
Oh,
wow.
I have it. It's so beat up, and I love it so much.
That is the sweetest thing. You just have to love educators,
right? The ones that go the extra mile, that extra little bit. Yeah.
It's so special and sweet, and honestly, like some of my favorite books as a child, I do remember like a teacher was the one to present those stories. And you know, it's like, and even for especially elementary school, we look up to our teachers so much. They're, you know, like they're just like these special souls in our lives. And so for them to, you know, gift a child with a book, how beautiful, you know, is that? So thank you, teachers. You are special.
Especially given all the demands on them these days. My gosh, like thinking about the fact that some of them go that extra mile, it's wild. Like looking back, I'm just like, I'm sorry for all the things I put them through.
Yeah, right? They go through a lot.
Yeah. Now it's your 4th book coming out. Congratulations.
Really? Is it my 4th book?
Yes. Can you tell us a bit about your journey to publishing and tell us everything?
Okay, so let's see. So again, I did the fan fiction thing.
Oh,
Did that for a
yes.
long time. Yes, yes. Melanie might know my fan fiction anime at least,
Oh.
but it's more obscure than other people's.
Ooh.
I'm a Gundam Wing girl.
Oh, I have to say I haven't touched those ones yet. It's a whole other saga, but
That's
I
a whole
have heard of its greatness.
it lives in the fan fiction. The show itself it's just enough to give you what you need.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The show's mediocre, but the fan fiction. Where's that?
Oh. Now, in your fan fiction, were you like hooking up characters? Was this?
I was hooking up characters.
Okay, good. As you should.
Yes, yes, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, it's usually what we all want, right? Because we're like, well, we saw like 20 relationships that you did not explore in this series. So we're going to explore it ourselves.
Exactly. Yes, very much so. Very much so. But yeah, so I did that. Then I wrote that novel in college. And so after I started querying that thing right out of the gate, did not know what I was doing. I actually found a box the other day of my self-addressed stamped envelopes and my printed out rejections that I used to get hard copy in the mail. Still have it.
That's legit.
Yeah, it's strange to think that it's been close to 20 years of me doing this, like professional, like intentionally and professionally. So I did that. Then I begged for a year off after college to figure out what I wanted to do. And I found a writing program at Seton Hill, and it was actually writing popular fiction. Like it was not literary, they were doing genre. So I went there and I learned how to write genre. Rewrote that 250K book 2 times, one for each mentor. So I think now it's more like 170, but still not
She's
doing
still thick. She's
thick.
Yeah, she's a doorstopper. I also wrote a second one and a quarter of a third one in that series, but who knows?
Wow.
Yeah, they all just sit now. But it was at the end of that I wrote the first 2, which are YA vampire romances.
Yes.
They're from 2013, 2014, the heyday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I call those my cupcake books. Those are my cupcakes. Like I baked cupcakes, Like they're really good cupcakes. They're good cupcakes. They might rock your teeth a little. But yeah, so I wrote those. Those are about, and I played with vampire lore in there, and there's past lives going on in there. So the whole premise is that like he's been a vampire for I don't remember how long anymore. I think he's pretty old. I think he's pretty old. But she keeps getting killed and reborn.
Ooh.
So he keeps trying to find her and turn her before that can happen again. And actually, like, I remember one of the big things I wanted to play with that was instead of it being a human in love with a vampire, she gets turned on like page 2. And so it's more about her learning to be a vampire and being with him too. So that was those. Those had an interesting, those got picked up by a small press, which then quickly went under.
Okay.
And I self-published those. So that
How
was
was it? How was self-publishing back in 2013, 2014? What was
what was it like? Do I remember? It was like, I mean, I remember I found an artist. I found a cover artist that I really like. He did such great cover art for them. But I formatted them all myself. They had been edited pretty much only by like my critique partners from grad school, and it had gone through grad school a little bit. Like I don't remember there being a lot of like trustworthy online editors.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, so I just threw them on Amazon and didn't know about anything else. I used to print them out and take them to little events around town and stuff like that and sell them. And like my school had book signings. I would do that when we went for like reunions and things like that. But yeah, I kind of just threw them out in the world and hoped for the
What was it like when moving from that small press to going out on your own?
I don't remember much, honestly. Like
It's
don't
a
remember.
blur. It's a blur.
It's a blur. I mean, I remember being really disappointed because, like it was on one hand, the small press, like it felt like there was someone there, someone being like, yeah, your books are good and we want them and stuff like that. But honestly, I think the books did better self-published.
Mm.
Um, and they had better cover art.
Mm.
The original cover art was kind of clip arty.
Yeah.
So, it got my foot in the door, got me going, but yeah, there wasn't as much going on back then. At least not that.
No, I think it's definitely the reason I bring it up is like I started with a small press, but like a little indie press, as in.
Yeah.
Let me reset. What do you call it when it's a small house? Do you call it an indie house? Let's educate me right now.
I've heard them called small presses, indie presses,
Yeah, because
mid-level.
they picked me up, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's like worth pausing to warn writers that it can be a bit of a gamble with those small presses, and that you kind of have to go into it with your eyes and ears wide open and know that, because sometimes they're also just experimenting, and they're kind of collecting. Sometimes it's great. It's like the start of things and you get picked up from there. But I think it's worth noting that some of that stuff can be a gamble, and just ask your questions, know what you're getting into, know if you're willing to roll the dice. It's just interesting to hear a similar story that this was many years ago for me now. And it was like, I didn't know that could happen, that they've just decided to continue. Did they close or did they just terminate your contract?
They just closed. They were gone. They just dissolved.
Wow.
And then actually the Solace, which I was writing 10 years ago. I was writing the Solace and Fallen and the third one like 10 years ago. The Solace got picked up the year my first daughter was born. So she'll be 7 this summer. And that was another like small press, but they said good. I liked the people. The editor who acquired me was great. And then that small press got eaten by a larger press. And what we decided to do in order to even things out was they just released all the authors.
Wow.
Just said, here are all your rights back. So like, again, I had like, it was going to come out, it was going to do all these things. And then they just released it back to me. And at that point, I had a newborn. And so I just kind of sat on it. I didn't do anything. I got lost in the mom fog.
Sure.
I had all those things going on. And I didn't even really do anything with it. Then in the first 3 years of her life, the people who had published my first short story back when I was 25 came and asked me to write 2 more short stories for them. So I did that while she was little, and I wrote those, and those were published. But then oddly enough, the summer my second daughter was born, which was 3 years later, that same editor from the first small press that acquired Solace emailed me. She was working for the bigger press that had eaten up the smaller one. And she said, is the Solace still available? I want it. I want it.
Yes.
And she worked for this new bigger press now, which is Outland Entertainment, who is my publisher now. I've been really happy with them. So yeah, it is the gamble. And in some ways though, like it worked out. She remembered Solace. She wanted it. She brought it back. And Outland's been great. They do all sorts of things too. Like they do games and audiobooks and video game, like comics and like all these they do lots of different cool things.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations, honestly, on it must have stuck with her so much that all these years later, she comes back and is like, please. Yeah. I'm sure she was like praying. What's been the process like to publish these books with them? Is it like in a traditional sense where they have the manuscript and then you guys are going through edits together? What was the process like?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I think there might be fewer rounds of edits. It is a little bit more in they give me like a big edit and I just go at it.
Nice.
And then they check it and they make sure it's okay and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's basically like one huge edit, like one really big one. Like I'm waiting for the 3rd book now. I actually have a new editor. He's great. But he like pumps up these books. He loves them so much. I'm so happy that I have him, because the imposter syndrome comes in and he'll like say something really, like he posted a blog post about The Fallen the other day and said like all these nice things about it, and I was like, that's nice, thank you.
Oh,
That's
amazing.
And I'm like, it's probably bad, it's probably no good. But yeah, so we do that. I get to have input on the cover, which is really nice. Like I send in what I want on the cover. And they send me, the mock-up and all that stuff. Once again, trust the artist. Like they sent the cover for The Fallen, which you guys have seen and some other have seen. Bree, my main character on the cover, has black hair on the cover, which he does not have in the book.
Oh.
And I was like, could we lighten his hair? Ruined the entire vibe of the cover. Entire vibe of the cover was wrong. So I was like, okay. So this is one of those things where his hair color's wrong, but it's the right vibe.
Yeah.
Like, okay, go back to it. I'm like, ignore me. Ignore me. His hair black. It's fine.
I love that.
Yes. If it captures the vibe, that's what's most important.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I needed the vibe more than anything else.
And lately,
true.
Yes. And lately I've been like hearing more and more conversations about like how so many of us like don't even have a solid, like was it Nikki Payne the other day, and she posted, she was like, when the author's like telling me he had, sparkling blue eyes and red hair and whatever, and she's just like, no, don't mess with my picture. Don't over-explain it. I don't want you to tell me exactly what they look like, because I'm picturing Brad Pitt or whatever, like, or whoever it is. Like, so you often already like, I think for me, I have like this, half the time I just picture myself. I don't know what that says about me.
As the male main character? As a male main character?
As every main character.
All of them? Wait a minute. You're every single character. You are every character.
Melanie.
No, I think I'm usually the main character, but it doesn't matter who they are. I'm like generally picturing myself going through what they're going through. Do you not do that?
No, I mean, sure, but like not. I mean, I guess, but now I just think of you, like, think of yourself with like a mustache and like, just like as the dude or something. Hey, whatever works.
Does this
whatever
do it
works.
for you? I think it depends. I should clarify, if it's in first person, I tend to picture it like that. When it's in third, then it's kind of, there's more of a separation, because it's like, they did this or blah blah blah, whereas in first it's like, I run through the forest and
Melanie.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's fun to know these things about you. Can you tell us actually what these two books are about, because The Fallen's coming out very soon, right? Or
a week from tomorrow. As of this. June 20th. So The Solace is about a young boy named Bree, and he can see the mist, which is like the one high god's grand plan. So like it's all there and he can touch it, he can see it, and that's something only the Seraph are supposed to be able to do. So they've been hunting him his whole life. And because of that, he's kind of like, it's a lot of power. It's too much power for a mortal body. He's been sick. He's been weak. People try and use him for his power. And so the book opens, people have gone too far, and his choice is basically like, death is right there. Like, you can come with me. Or then there's a demon voice who's like, I can help you out. And so he sells his soul for 10 years of protective life. He's 13. That feels like a long time to him at the time. 10 years. 23 is really old when you're 13, I guess.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So he gets all wrapped up into that. And then there's Alec, who is the first soulless of the demon karma. And he's been around for 2,000 years. He is tired. He does not want to be here anymore. Karma's been missing for 200 years. So he gets called by her suddenly and finds her with this boy in the soul, and he's like, what is going on? And then they get wrapped into this whole saga where there's the one high god has also been silent for like 1,000 years. And there's a demon who wants to take the one high god's place. So they get all caught up in that and having to try to prevent that because Bree can see the future. So that's pretty helpful to people like Karma, who is trying to figure this out. And then the second one, I mean, I wrote the Soulless is pretty self-contained. So like there's a big arc and it's like you could read just the Soulless and for the most part be very satisfied. But then some things explode at the end of the Soulless. And so then more problems in the Fallen. We get more romance in the Fallen. We get more of the Mad Witch, who is absolutely positively insane. When I was writing book one, I remembered swearing that I would never write from his point of view because I would be too terrified. And then I wrote from his point of view in book two, and it was fun.
That's awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, it's hard to talk about book two without spoiling book one.
Oh, that's true. Huh?
I don't always really know what to say.
No. Well,
all everybody needs to know is they need to buy book one.
Yeah.
So you can read book two. So obviously,
so I did put a summary of book one in the beginning of book two.
Oh, nice.
I heard that people like that. So I did a like last time on like a
That's
recap.
Brilliant.
So there's a recap of book one in the beginning of book two.
Ooh.
So also if it's been a while since you read it, you can catch up that way.
Yes, I need that even on TV stuff. If there's a huge gap between seasons or movies or whatever.
Last time on.
Yes, I need the recap because I forget a lot. Most of it. I forget most of it. It's just the way. So where did the inspiration for the book come from?
I was reading The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare and watching Full Metal Alchemist.
Makes
and
sense.
I basically smushed those two things together.
Glorious.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah, you know, the Victorian setting with demons and things like that, mixed with like blood magic and things like and the brother and like the core of the books is Alec and Bree and their brotherly bond. Which I really liked in Full Metal Alchemist too. It's about the brothers. So
I have them on my shelf right here.
Oh, there they are. Look
there
at them.
There they are.
Oh, dang.
Oh, sweet babies.
Yes. Sweet babies. I had Alphonse for ages by himself. And then I got Edward and I was like, they're finally reunited after all this time.
I remember seeing your story about that. That's right. No, thank God they're together again.
It's the best series. There's not much that touches that. It goes like dark. It goes really dark in some places. Like, I mean, Nina, I don't know.
Episode 4. If anyone is listening and they haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist, if you don't want the trauma, you can skip episode 4.
And I would even say that scene 1, opening scene, is the most traumatic too. But I mean, everything else around it is like more tempered.
Yes.
May I ask you this? So this is a show.
Oh my God, Angela Montoya. Yes. I'm going to lose my shit. I know you haven't delved into anime yet, but this one has to happen.
This is an anime. This is anime.
It's so good. They made it twice. So they originally made it and they the manga wasn't finished yet and they made their own ending. And then the manga artist finished it and they made Brotherhood to the original, to the actual ending. So there's two, there's a lot of, most of the threads are the same, but then there's other parts that are completely different. And it's the most powerful storytelling. It's funny, but it goes to the highest high and to the lowest low, as anime tends to do. But some of the dark parts, they haunted me for years, but they also give you food for thought. They also make you I don't know, just understand humanity better or something. The highs and lows of humanity. So please put it on your list. Please.
Yes. Put it on your, it's honestly like a lot of times when people ask me what my favorite thing is, I'd be like, I think that's possibly one of the greatest stories in any medium that I've read or listened to or watched or
Wow.
it's so good.
Okay. Would you say better than Avatar?
I would put them
I would.
Do we need to cut this? Should I cut this question? Should
No.
we edit this out?
Might be very controversial.
What did you say? Did you say no?
I think it's better than Avatar.
I would say they're different. They do different things.
They do different things, and it's a different audience, different age, like
totally.
Like my children, my 6-year-old has watched Avatar. I cannot let my 6-year-old
watch. They would be traumatized.
Yeah.
Metal, to be clear, is very much adult anime, in my opinion.
Yes.
There's very dark themes in it that would like mess kids' brains. Although they're probably watching it as I say that, but like I wouldn't give it to a young child. I was traumatized by some of it at like 20. So like it's very whereas Avatar is targeted at like middle grade / young adult, but it has that broad appeal that a lot of Disney and Ghibli stuff tends to have. So it's one of those ones that is so broad, where I think Full Metal, it has a different kind of following. Oh, I mean, there's crossover for both, but they both need to be watched by you, Angela Montoya. You know, like you trust
it's more, it's more just a rating thing. Like Avatar's PG, Alchemist is probably R.
I would say some episodes are R easily. Many episodes.
Some PG, some is R. Yeah.
Well, I want the R, baby. Give me all the R rating.
We got so lost in Full Metal Alchemist. We've got 10 minutes remaining.
I know.
Oh no.
I know. But that's always no, it's always a good sign. You know what I mean? When the time just goes so fast. Obviously you guys have tons in common with the manga.
Yes.
And it sounds like it really shaped a lot of your storytelling, which I mean, understandably, the storytelling in manga is like top tier, wonderful, which makes me so excited to read all of your books. Was one project easier for you to write of the 4 that you have out or coming out so far?
One easier. I don't know. I mean, back then I had the luxury of writing from like 8 a.m. till noon at my leisure every day. And so I could hyperfixate on the stories and I could pants my way through and they just came out, and I would write those drafts in like 3 to 4 months. Now as a mother, you guys know from the Discord, I've written 2 different drafts in the Discord, and I just scrapped them both and started a brand new book. Because the writing process is just not the same. So compared to now, all of them were much easier to write.
Yes. That makes so much sense though.
But I mean, the Solace, like I was writing the Solace as I was having terrible panic attacks, and I didn't know that's what they were at first.
Wow.
And so like looking back at it too, like the 3 years, because Bree goes from 13, although then he's mostly 15 in the first book, to 19 in the last book. And like we really kind of like we pushed through it together, him and me.
I love
so
that.
I think those books were probably more cathartic in a way that I didn't even realize at the time. Editing them now is interesting to go back and remember why I was making those choices, and sometimes too deciding, do I want to honor the choices I made back then, or do I want to go with choices I would make now? That was really hard sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. I had to walk that line a lot.
Yeah. And I guess it's almost impossible to kind of decide because both are right. And, it's like past you was right because that's what she was going through. And now here you are. And so, you can pretty much go either way.
Yeah.
That's deep right there.
It is.
There are a lot of dark things in the book that now as a mother, I was like, how dare you write that? Why would you do that? I don't even want to read this. What were you doing?
But you were going through it at the time, so you had to. And now you've come out as a whole new person. And that's the beauty of writing. I mean, we talk about it a lot on the podcast, but like it's therapeutic in so many ways. And you're just like bleeding on the page, just like releasing all the trauma, all the crap you're going through. And sometimes when you go back and look back, you're like, oh, poor me. I'm sorry.
No, poor little Kate.
Yes.
Yeah, but I feel like usually that tends to be what the readers resonate with, though. The parts of your heart that you didn't like. I remember having Nova M.F.A on, and her advice has always stuck with me, to just like write it the most intense, gushy, full on version. And then later you can pull it back if it doesn't feel right. But like, it's really was freeing, because when you put that on the page, I find so many little moments, little human moments come out. And I find that that's what I resonate with in media. I'm like, oh, they did that. Like, I do that too. Like, I thought that was just a little embarrassing secret, but no, other bitches be doing it too. Like, and it's like so validating as part of our human existence or something.
Very much so. I was just going to say, like you were saying, like even just you guys listening, like I listen to your podcast all the time. And a lot of times it's just like, yes, validating. Yes. Like, that's what we all feel. And it's what we all do. And
isn't it funny when you live this human experience and you think it's just you that's like experiencing these uncomfortable things. And then when somebody mentions it, you're like, oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that I'm not alone in my kooky, whatever I'm dealing with at the moment. It's beautiful, honestly. And that's what books do. And that's what like your book and all of these books will do for their readers. It's like that moment of, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not some weirdo. We're all weirdos. And that's perfect.
It's true.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
okay. Oh, go ahead, Mel.
No, you go. You go.
No, you go.
I was just going to skip ahead and ask, what do you think the hardest part of this journey has been for you?
Probably all the waiting. All the waiting. I think too, like back to, little 22-year-old Kate, she was sure all this stuff was going to happen so fast. By the time she was like 28, it was all going to be there. It was all going to be laid out. It was like, she probably would have been petrified to know how slow it would have gone, and just like piece by piece, little by little. But it was all pieces, like it was all pieces in its own time. Like it worked out fine. Like I wrote these books 10 years ago. I finished the third one the summer I met my husband, my now husband. And so then when I was doing the whole having a relationship, getting married, having babies, all these things, I had 3 books that were ready to go. I didn't have to be writing. So probably all in the end worked out for the best. But 22-year-old Kate probably would have freaked out.
Well, let's skip. I mean, honestly, that's one of our favorite questions that we kind of always touch on, is like looking back at all you've accomplished. What would you tell a younger version of yourself? So would it be chill the hell out? Or what would your advice be?
She would have gotten discouraged.
Yes.
Discouraged if she knew how long it was going to take. So I probably wouldn't tell her.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably just tell her I'd probably just be like, it happened. I probably just shove our books in her face.
Yes.
Be like, look, it's fine. It all happens.
I love that. You're like, if you could go, You're like, if I could go back to past me, I'm like, look, bitch, we did it. We did it. So just keep grinding. You're going to get there. And I think that's all that matters, isn't it? Like the self-belief.
Yeah. Don't ask me how long it took. Just look, it happened.
Yeah.
And it's not that bad. You think approaching 40 is old. It sounds old to you now, but you don't feel old. So it's fine. You're fine.
Oh, I love that so freaking much. And I can't remember who it was on the show, but it was like, I think asking this question, or I don't even know how it came up, but it was like I don't regret anything. And maybe it wasn't on the show. You know what I mean? But it was like, I don't regret. Okay, good. Thanks, Melanie. Might have been you, Melanie, but it's like, I don't regret any of these steps that I've taken. Oh, it was you, Melanie? You're genius. Bitch, you are genius. But that's true. I don't regret all of these things, these blocks in the road, all of these twists and turns, because it's gotten me to where I am today.
Yeah.
And Melanie, you are a genius for saying
I mean, it sounds better now when you say it. Maybe I remember saying something more vague. It was probably a guest and then me being like, yes, I agree. But it's true.
Though.
Yeah, because you're so
one little thing had changed.
You're so right. If I look back and think, like, if I knew how long and how much work it was going to be, maybe, I don't know, I'd like to think I would have still been like, yeah, let's go. But like, maybe it would have been too scary to think like 10 years, whatever, like whatever it takes to actually start getting the wheels turning. Like,
I love that. And I love you, Kate, for saying all of that. Honestly, I had chills from head to toe. But I see we're less than a minute from getting kicked out of Zoom, but this went by so fast and it was so fun. It was just bullshitting with just the gals.
So much fun.
It was. So all of our listeners need to buy all of your books and get on board. And I honestly, I'm so excited for you and for where all of this is going to lead. So yes, congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm excited for you. And just thank you. Cause I used to tell my sister that, we were like imaginary friends on the internet. I would talk about you guys like you were my friends, and she'd be like, who are these people? I'm like, I listen to their podcast.
Aww.
And now you're family.
Friends, but we're friends.
Yes, now you're family. So you could tell sister, we're all sisters now.